What's up, guys? It's me, Technology Dude 117, and if you guys are not already following me on Twitter, please do not forget to do so. I will be posting the link to my Twitter account down in the description. Now, today I am coming at you guys with my review for Aliens Colonial Marines. Now, after multiple delays and over 6 years in development, Aliens Colonial Marines is finally here. Developed by Gearbox Software and promised to be an homage to Aliens fans everywhere, Colonial Marines sets out to give players an authentic Aliens experience. But does the game have the right to call itself a true sequel to the 1986 film, or is it truly just a mediocre use of the license? Let's find out.
Attention chicks and dicks of the USS Sephora. As of right this second, Rhino 2-1 and Rhino 2-3 are fighting to get a hold of the situation we're in.
Story-wise, Aliens Colonial Marines is, to put it simply, bad. The story is extremely weak, and it's just a bad sequel to the original movie. Now, the story places players in the shoes of Corporal Christopher Winter, a Colonial Marine whose squad receives a distress signal from the USS Sulaco. And him and his squad are pretty much just tasked with going to the Sulaco, finding out what the hell happened, what happened to the crew, and they're just going there to see what this distress signal is all about. Now, when they get to the Sulaco, everything goes to hell, and the Sulaco ends up crash landing on LV-426. Now, from there on out, the story sort of fades into nothingness. It becomes nothing, and there's absolutely no point to your actions. The story pretty much just becomes this game where your goal is to get from point A to point B and kill all of the aliens and Weyland-Yutani mercs, in between those 2 points. There's really nothing else to it, and it just turns into nothing, and there's no, overall plot in this game that I could really grasp onto and find. Now, Weyland-Yutani shows up in the beginning of the game out of thin air. They just kind of appear, and they're there for no reason. Now, I'm sure they're there probably to I guess clear their name from what happened on LV-426. But aside from that, they're there for absolutely no reason. They're just kind of there to be there. Now, the story's riddled with a bunch of different references to the movies. There's a ton of weapons, such as Hick's shotgun, and just a bunch of cool references to the movies. There's Newt's doll, there's Bishop's legs on the deck of the Sulaco, and the references are just really neat. And Aliens fans will definitely appreciate that a lot. Now, as you play the game, there's a bunch of items and collectibles that you can pick up. There's audio logs and dog tags. Now, overall, the game took me about 8 hours to complete, and I was playing it on Ultimate Badass difficulty. I would definitely recommend playing it on that difficulty. Otherwise, it's just too easy with the horrible AI. Now, overall, story-wise, Aliens Colonial Marines, like I said, it's bad. It's weak. And there's just really nothing to it. It's good for achievement hunters. The achievements in the game are really easy. But aside from that, if you do pick up the game, there's no real point of playing the story. Unless you're a big Aliens fan and you think you might take away something from it, go for it. But there's really nothing here story-wise. Now, graphically, Aliens Colonial Marines is also pretty bad. The game has a lot of texture pop-in, screen tearing, blur, clipping issues, bugs, horrible character models. The game looks like it's an Xbox 360 launch title, and we are at the end of this generation's lifespan, and there's no excuse for the game looking like this. It just looks terrible. They shouldn't have done this. Now, when I was playing the game, I was clipping through the environments. I was clipping through, squad members. I was clipping through aliens. I mean, the game is just riddled with bugs. There was, parts where I would get stuck in the environment, parts where my, teammates would get stuck in the environment, and, there's bugs where your gun can disappear, and it's just really bad, and it's really inexcusable this late in the console generation. Now, there's a ton of pop-in throughout the environments. The textures are just really bad. They are bad, man. They are some of the worst textures I've ever seen. There's a lot of motion blur, a ton of screen tearing. Now, some parts of the game actually looked pretty decent, I'm not going to lie. Some of the corridors look good. Now, the one commendable thing graphically is the lighting. The lighting system works. It looks great, and it just, makes the game even better. Now, the character models in the game are just terrible. The aliens look pretty good themselves, the enemies look pretty good, but the main characters, Winter, he looks terrible. O'Neill looks terrible. They all just look really, really bad. And they all look pretty similar too. And, you know, that's just pure laziness. Graphically, Aliens Colonial Marines is a little rough around the edges. That's being generous. It's really rough around the edges. Graphically, it's just not a good game. Now, gameplay-wise, Aliens Colonial Marines is actually fairly decent. The sound design in the game is amazing. Gearbox has hit the nail on the head with the sound in the game. The motion tracker sounds perfect. It sounds perfect. The pulse rifle sounds perfect. The xenomorphs sound great. Everything in the game just sounds perfect. The sound design is fantastic. And I'm going to get to that later on in this review when I do the sound overall. Now, the game is pretty much just your basic first-person shooting action, and it's pretty good, like, overall. The first-person shooting in the game, it's fun. You know, it's just basic. Like I said, it's pretty much what you'll get from any other first-person shooter, but that's not a bad thing. Now, here's where Aliens Colonial Marines shines, and that's in the online. The online ships with 4 modes, which are all very, very fun. Now, I know that doesn't seem like a lot, 4 modes, but they're fun. They're all sort of unique in their own kind of way. And the multiplayer is easily the best part of the game. It's deep, there's a ton of unlocks, there's a ton of things to do in multiplayer, and I've just been having a lot of fun with the multiplayer. If you do decide to pick up the game, it should be for the multiplayer. It's so much fun, like I said, and it's just great overall. Now, the game has horrible, horrible AI. Your squad mates are useless. The xenomorphs are pretty damn stupid. The Weyland-Yutani guys are stupid. The AI is just horrendous. And if you don't play it on Ultimate Badass mode, there's absolutely no challenge in the game. Now, I played the entire game on Ultimate Badass mode and died about like 6 times. So that kind of gives you guys an idea of how horrible this AI is. Now, the game has a bunch of different guns and a bunch of awesome, you know, items and stuff that you can use as a Colonial Marine. There's, of course, the smart gun, which is great. There's the motion tracker, like I said. There's a flamethrower. The game just has a bunch of different things, and it's really, really cool. Gameplay-wise, like I said, Aliens Colonial Marines is just awesome. Now, let's talk about the sound of Aliens Colonial Marines. I touched on this a bit earlier, but I want to get more into depth with it. The sound design for the game is absolutely amazing. Now, I know the story is pretty damn weak, but the voice acting is just great. It's spectacular. You know, they have the original voice of Bishop, and they have some other great voice actors in the game, and it just sounds fantastic overall. Like I said, they nailed the motion tracker sound. They nailed the Xenos. They nailed the pulse rifle. Everything just sounds great in the game, and Gearbox should be commended for it. Now, replayability. Aliens Colonial Marines, of course, has that stellar multiplayer mode, which is the highlight of the package. It's almost worth the entry fee alone. The multiplayer is just great, and you will definitely keep coming back to the multiplayer. There's so many unlocks, weapons and class unlocks, and there's so many different ways to customize, you know, your character and to make your character unique and make your weapons unique, that there's just so much reason to come back to the multiplayer and just keep playing it. Now, like I said, the game has a bunch of collectibles. It has dog tags, it has hidden weapons, it has all these little Easter eggs, it has audio logs, so there's definitely a lot of reason to come back to the single player and get those, especially if you're an achievement hunter or if you just want to see the in-game renditions of you know, some memorable things from the movies. Now, the game is also very easy for achievements, so if you're an achievement hunter, you're definitely going to want to come back and play the game until you get all of them. You can easily get all the achievements on your first playthrough through the game. Now, replayability, the game's alright for replayability. I would say that most people will be coming back for the multiplayer. Now, in the end, I can easily say that while not perfect, Aliens Colonial Marines is fun. Sure, the storytelling is loose and the game is filled with bugs, but some awesome map design and the stellar multiplayer make this game a worthy pickup for any Aliens fan or achievement hunter. I can't recommend the game at $60, but if you can get it cheaper, go for it. In the end, I enjoyed Aliens Colonial Marines for what it was, and I would give the game a solid 6.8 out of 10. Now, if you guys did enjoy this video review of Aliens Colonial Marines, please do not forget to comment, rate, favorite, and subscribe. share this video with your friends on Facebook and Twitter. And once again, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see ya.